The health gurus have got us programmed to think the low-fat version of our favorite munchies are healthier options. This thinking is based on the idea that fat makes you fat. And at first glance, this idea makes a lot of sense. But biological systems don't always follow human logic. Biologically speaking, fat is neither good nor bad. Yes, it does taste pretty good, but when all is said and done, fat is the most efficient way to store excess calories. And, it's prudent to store excess calories because rainy days happen. Well, they did in the past when there weren't fridges, processed foods, and 24/7 supermarkets. But today, excess calories are commonplace. And those extra calories end up being stored as fat. So, Weight watching is all about calories. But all calories are not equal. This is what a team of researchers from Boston's Children's Hospital found when they fed mice the same number of calories, but changed up their speed. Fast calories were more fattening. Join us for this episode of Better Body Chemistry TV as we explore why speed fattens. Better Body Chemistry TV is brought to you by Dr. Sandy, a scientist turned gremlin buster, helping you battle sugar gremlins, heifer lumps, and other health horribles through better body chemistry. Remember, small things can make a big difference to your health. The researchers took two groups of mice. The mice were fed exactly the same amount of protein, fat, and carbohydrates for 6 months. One group of mice got their carb calories fast, as their meals were comprised of a type of cornstarch that is digested quickly. The other group got their carb calories a lot slower, as their food bowls were topped with a type of cornstarch which is digested slowly. At the 6-month mark, the animals were weighed. On the outside, at least, the mice looked pretty much the same, but things looked a little different on the inside. The mice eating the fast carbs had twice as much fat tucked inside their little bodies, especially in their livers. Now, the guy in charge of the fat processing department in the body is insulin. So, what happened? Well, the arrival of food, any food, protein or carb, gets insulin out of bed. And in a healthy person, he arrives on the scene almost immediately and begins mopping up. How much insulin is needed is proportional to how much food has landed. In particular, how many carbohydrate molecules have arrived in the liver. The reason? Well, carbohydrates need to be removed stat is because high sugar levels have a tendency to slice and dice cells lining the blood vessels. So, the story begins in the liver, the body's chief food processing and distribution center. From here, the insulin circulates in the blood, assisting cells with the right security clearances, that is, insulin receptors, to access the energy supply. Insulin's response to the food's arrival is primarily driven by the amount of sugar it contains, and how quickly the sugar reaches the liver. So glycemic index matters. Foods characterized as high glycemic foods, like white bread, white rice, most prepared breakfast cereals, and sugar-laden beverages, are absorbed very quickly. So insulin needs to be on the ball. Foods considered low glycemic foods, like most vegetables and unprocessed grains, allow insulin to dawdle because the sugar content is lower and it's intertwined with other things. So it takes significantly longer for the sugar to arrive in the liver. Now, the bigger the sugar load, the more insulin drops into the liver. And insulin then arranges for the carb calories to be squirreled away inside of the cells. Firstly, as glycogen. And then once glycogen stores have been repleted, as fat. If insulin is storing fat in the liver all the time, the fat supply of the liver gradually accumulates. And when liver stores of fat reach high enough levels, the fat becomes visible, leading to a diagnosis of fatty liver. Now, fatty liver doesn't make you feel sick. Most people really don't know they have it. But it is a common problem, which is becoming more and more common, especially in people who are overweight. Rolls of fat in the liver puts a little extra stress and strain on the liver, and the liver has a pretty tough job. It's ultimately in charge of providing every cell in your body with the resources it needs to do its job. So stressed livers are more likely to break down, leading not to just fatty liver, but fatty liver disease, which in due course could end with liver failure. Aish. So low-fat food items, which are billed as healthy foods, contain the same amount of sugar as their full-fat counterparts. Actually, they often contain a little more. When you remove the fat, you have to put something else in its place, or it will taste awful. So low-fat foods are not the secret to stopping fat accumulation. You need to stop your sugar gremlin by candy flossing. Step 1 in the candy floss system, cut the carbs. For more tips and strategies on how to minimize fat accumulation, download the Willpower Report. It's free, and it will show you how to candy floss your way to better body chemistry. Interested in discovering more ways to create better body chemistry? Or need a little help getting your body chemistry on track? Visit our website at www.betterbodychemistry.com. Browse our library or book a one-on-one health conversation. The advice is simple to follow and based on real science, not hype. Know someone who eats low-fat Twinkies for breakfast? Share this video with them so they understand low-fat foods are not necessarily diet foods. And if you enjoyed the video, be sure to subscribe to our channel so you catch future episodes of Better Body Chemistry TV. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Remember, small things can make a big difference to your health.